Am I audible? Good morning, good morning. Hormones of anterior pituitary. So we studied about 6 hormones, otherwise known as your somatotropin. Then we adrenocorticotropic hormone CTH or corticotropin, hormone FSH, luteinizing hormone LH, both belonging to your gonadotropin group, and the last one was your prolactin. So in the previous class we studied about the hormones of the anterior pituitary, the 6 different hormones of the hormones that are secreted, important hormones. First one present, and the next one is your oxytocin. So both are from then they go to the posterior pituitary through hypothalamus. Are also termed as your neurohormones. Why? Because they are involved in the transport of these two hormones. Are two hormones, ADH or vasopressin and oxytocin. They are found in the supraoptic, termed as your neuro diuresis, and is chiefly concerned with water. Why the name vaso? Because it causes vasoconstriction of this hormone is conservation of body water. So oligopeptide which contains and paraventricular nuclei of the hypothalamus. Method happens in your in your liver and of secretion of ADH. ADH secretion, it depends on osmolarity of body fluids. Two different things are required for your ADH secretion. Osmolarity, it is increase in osmolar concentration in ECF. So osmolar in first one, what is the role of this plasma osmolarity of ADH? Here osmoreceptors. Okay, osmoreceptors are the receptor osmolar concentration of the blood. Okay, concentration of the what is the role of plasma osmolarity? Plasma osmolarity, the importance comes from your osmoreceptors. Osmolar concentration will activate these receptors. These are situated either in the hypothalamus near your supraoptic and your. So when osmolar concentration of blood increases, activate. So osmoreceptors, they will stimulate the supraoptic and paraventricular nuclei, which send the motor impulses to your posterior pituitary through nerve fibers, and these cause the release of ADH. Okay. So when the osmoreceptors stimulate your, they will send impulses to the posterior, and this will cause release of ADH. So now ADH causes reabsorption of water tubules. So increase in the ECF volume and normalcy is restored. So have you understood this slide? demonstrates increase in your plasma ADH plasma osmolarity. It crosses to 85 milliosmoles per kg. It results in your increase in plasma ADH concentration. And you know how? Through the osmoreceptors present in the hypothalamus near your supraoptic and your paraventricular nuclei. So these osmoreceptors will stimulate this nuclei and will send motor impulses to the posterior pituitary through the nerve fibers, which will cause in release of ADH, and ADH will cause reabsorption of water from your renal tubules. The next, blood volume and blood pressure. It will stimulate your ADH secretion. How? By three mechanisms. First, whenever there is fall in your mean arterial pressure, that causes a linear increase in your ADH release. First. Second, decreased ECF volume will stimulate your ADH secretion. Third, affect your blood volume and blood pressure, and it will mediate the renal. 3 we have already studied in your kidney chapter. So nothing much to blood pressure will stimulate your, and increase in your plasma osmolarity will shows the linear increase in plasma ADH secretion when there is mean arterial pressure fall. Which your ADH secretion. So increased ADH secretion, as we all know, is increased by your plasma osmolarity and decrease in ECF volume. Decrease in 2 also affects it. Trace, all these things increase your ADH secretion. Similarly, decrease in ADH secretion occurs when the plasma there is decreased, so affects your ADH secretion. So increase ADH secretion normally through increased plasma osmolarity, and increased ADH secretion again by your decreased ECF volume and decrease in ADH receptor. Vasopressin receptor. So what are these receptors? The vasopressin or the V1 receptors, which are present in the smooth muscles of blood vessels, and the V2 receptors, which are located on your kidney tubules. So V1 receptors are divided into two types, V1A receptors and V1B receptors. The V1A receptors are the receptors which are involved in a vasoconstrictor effect of ADH. The V1B receptor ADH on anterior pituitary. V2 receptors are involved in action of ADH on your kidney. So two types of receptors, V1 and V2 receptors. V1 again is divided into two types, A and B, which are involved in your vasoconstrictor effect and the action of ADH on anterior pituitary, and V2 receptors are involved in action of ADH on your kidney. Member of blood vessels and on your kidney tubules. Then coming to the important function of ADH is retention of water. By reabsorption of water from DCT and CD in your kidneys. If you remember this, we have already studied what is facultative reabsorption and what is the role of ADH in DCT or your distal convoluted. In the absence of ADH, both this DCT and CD are impermeable to water. Therefore, reabsorption of water does not tend for your retention of water. So it acts ADH acts on DCT and of renal tubule to increase conditions of hypovolemia, and this is the important hormone for your restoration of ECF volume in conditions when there is acute diarrhea, vomiting, etc. So this flow chart will in retention of, you can see here will have three effects. One is second is your decreased ECF volume, and the third one is your decrease of this mechanism we have already studied. That will lead to your ADH activation of ADH secretion in your will have low pressure, or the receptor have a decreased vagal activity, which again will lead to your ADH secretion from your hypothalamus. Will again have an effect on the high pressure receptors present in the nucleus tractus solitarius in medulla. This mechanism will, you must have already studied this in your, lead to your increased plasma osmolarity, all of them leading to increased secretion in the, so that will lead to your increased plasma level and water reabsorption from your kidney. Then restoration of ECF volume is maintained. The suppression action. ADH cause constriction of arteries in your all parts of your body. So due to this vasoconstriction, they are increased in blood pressure, a stimulus to ADH secretion. So we have finished with ADH. Except for retention of water and your vasopressor action, ADH also performs other functions. What are they? First one, action on your anterior pituitary. So in increase secretion of your SCTH from your corticotropes. It has also action on liver, which causes your glycogenolysis by combining with your V1A receptors, and in the brain it acts as a, ADH acts as a neurotransmitter. So except for your retention of water, vasopressin, it also performs action on your anterior pituitary, in your liver and brain. Now coming to the second hormone, that is oxytocin. What is the source and synthesis? We have already studied. Same to that of ADH. It is an oligopeptide which contains your 9 amino acid, and it is synthesized in your paraventricular cells of hypothalamus and the supraoptic nucleus. From here it is secreted into your posterior pituitary, where what is the regulation of secretion of oxytocin? Secretion, it occurs due to two mechanisms. One is and the second one is your cervical dilatation at the time of parturition. So what are this? The first, second one, reflex is so what is this? Neurohormonal reflex, breast of your mother into the mouth of the baby when the baby suckles during breastfeeding. So details about milk ejection reflex and parturition reflex will be taught to you in your next topic. So we have finished with ADH and we have finished with 2 if ADH is very, very important, and functions of ADH. With this we have finished the hormones of posterior pituitary. We have come to the end of the class and here we will discuss about the applied aspects of both anterior pituitary and posterior pituitary. So coming to the abnormalities of anterior pituitary hormones, it is divided into two: hypersecretion of growth hormone and hyposecretion. So first, the hypersecretion of growth hormone. So where it occurs and why it occurs? So it occurs due to tumors of the acidophilic cells. We have already studied about this, as what are acidophilic cells, okay. And depending upon the age of an individual, gigantism. So then coming to gigantism. So what is this? It's a clinical condition which results from the hypersecretion of growth hormone. In children, condition is, there are two causes. First one, due to your producing hormone. Coming to of gigantism. Just first, the common one which you all know, that the subjects look like giants with an average thickness. So what is macroglossia? Macroglossia, anyone can answer me? Am I audible? So here you can see the diagram. It's a case of gigantism and pituitary dwarfism, which is compared to the age and gender matched with a normal body. The other features of your clinical features of gigantism, which will include visual field defects and your cranial nerve palsy. Management, it is diagnosed by either a situation of high level of growth hormone by estimation of plasma, and the ID is such disease. Both the management of your gigantism and dwarfism are the same. Acromegaly, it is a clinical condition that occurs in adults, that is after the epiphyseal closure of long boles has occurred, and it causes excessive growth in those areas. Causes again tumor of somatotroph because of. First one is your acromegalic face, which is again characterized by your macroglossia, broad and thick nose, prominent eyebrows, then you have thickened skin, and the next one is prognathism, or the protrusion of your lower jaw. Why? Because due to elongation related with increased spacing of your part abnormalities, which is your thick wide fingers, large feet, the height being normal, and Then you have excessive growth of your internal organs, which may be cardiomegaly, hepatomegaly, splenomegaly, renalomegaly, etc. etc. Activity which will lead to your increased sweating and gigantism. Diagnosed by CT scan or MRI, and through your plasma hormone, and surgical removal of tumor is your best option to cure the. So see the gorilla face in the first one. See the wrinkled forehead along. Again, in this diagram you can see all the features of acromegaly: acroglossia, prognathism, the spade arthritis. Increased heel pad thickness. So the hypersecretion of growth hormone, it leads to either your gigantism or acromegaly. Except for these two, there are other two other diseases which are associated with your hypersecretion of growth hormone, which is a very rare disorder which has both the symptoms of what your shaft. This will cause your gigantism and crisis. Then the symptoms of acromegaly also appears. So acromegalic gigantism. Next is your Cushing's disease, again a rare disease which is characterized by your of ACTH, which will stimulate your cortisol. So one more Cushing's disease along with your gigantism and acromegaly. So we are finished with hypersecretion of growth hormone. Now coming to the hyposecretion. So when deficiency of growth hormone during childhood will lead to dwarfism, and deficiency of growth hormone in adult will lead to either your anemia, reduction in muscle mass, and or hypoglycemia. So coming to dwarfism, why it is caused? Three important factors. First one is your decreased growth hormone releasing hormone deficiency. This is due to your failure in your hypothalamus. Then coming next one, decreased growth hormone secretion. It occurs due to your pituitary failure. And last one, growth hormone receptors. It is termed as your Laron dwarfism or dwarfism, which is caused due to your growth hormone, muscle mass, total body mass, decreased cardiac function, and the abnormal. First one is the hyperactivity of posterior hormone. It is termed as your SIADH. The full form is syndrome of inappropriate hypersecretion of antidiuretic through urine due to hypersecretion of ADH. It is a condition in which the ADH secretion is increased despite the presence of your hypoosmolarity mechanism, and the excessive ADH secretion will lead to overhydration, and due to all these reasons, this SIADH or the syndrome of syndrome. The hypoactivity of posterior pituitary will lead to your diabetes insipidus. So what happens in this? There is excess excretion of water through your urine. What are the causes? The deficiency of ADH, and this deficiency occurs first when there is any or when there is atrophy of your posterior pituitary. One more is when there is inability of the renal tubules to give response to your ADH hormone, that will lead to your nephrosis. It includes polyuria, diluted urine, and polydipsia, which is intake of. It is a genetic disorder due to the inability of your renal tubules to give response to your ADH. And why this occurs? Due to the mutation. So we have finished with the anterior pituitary hormones and posterior pituitary. In the anterior pituitary hormone, we learned about the hypersecretion of growth hormone, that is your gigantism, acromegaly, and then coming autism. In the posterior pituitary, today's class we have completed hypothalamus and posterior pituitary. Just a recapitulation of what we have studied altogether in the last 3 or 4 classes, starting with hypothalamus, the pituitary gland in general structure, anterior pituitary hormone. In the posterior pituitary we studied about ADH, oxytocin. ADH is important, regulation of secretion of ADH is important, the two mechanism, plasma osmolality and the which leads to your excessive secretion of your ADH. Then we learned about the receptors, that is your V1 and V2 receptors. Then functions of ADH, that is mainly your retention of water and your vasopressor action. Oxytocin, we studied about the milk ejection reflex and the parturition reflex, both anterior and posterior pituitary hormones we have completed. So today's class is over. The next